In a maximalist home, is it okay to have a minimalist room? Well, that's pretty much where I am with my TV room. I know I was supposed to have been sharing a updated, you know, any updates that I have made, but to be honest with you, I'm just kind of just stuck on leaving it the way it is because we utilize that room so much till it really doesn't stay the neatest, but it's just the lounge area, so I just can't quite get it the way I want it. My name is Jamela. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of Living the Lifestyle of the Thrift and Famous, and I'm glad you're here. It's been at least 2, maybe 3 months since I've been tackling this room, but the paint and the painting of the ceiling was the biggest thing. And I bought a table for this space right here, but for some reason I can't find it. So that goes to tell you I've got too much junk. But no, I've got too much stuff. And forgive me for using the word junk. That's impossible because we don't have junk. I did pull out this desk that I bought about maybe 2 or 3 years ago from the Facebook Marketplace for $40, and I've been wanting to put it in this room. I bought it specifically, but I have to find my table. I don't know where I put it, but basically my goal is to just keep it kind of neat. I still haven't even figured out what wall decor I want. The swag light that I have that stays on, so it would be nice to have some nice artwork illuminating on the wall, but I'll figure it out. And as long as all this stays neat and tidy, I'm pretty much comfortable right now with it. I'm not running a marathon with decorating my home. Now, back to my dining room. So this corner here, remember when I had the beautiful dogwood blossoms? Well, those died off eventually, and my ZZ plant that I had in the bowl just wasn't surviving. Then I found a staghorn fern. Now, cross the fingers that this one survives because I love staghorn ferns, but I've not been pretty good with them. I believe it's going to need a little more light, but we'll see how this goes. Now, and I know I did a little spring, cleaning and so forth in here, but I am going to share a little secret, and that is I've been wanting to kind of switch up my window treatments for the dining room for spring and summer. I've had these up for a few years now, and I got them from my son. He didn't want them from his house, so I've seen them around. But finding the fabric and then having them made was just a daunting dilemma that I just didn't feel like going through, especially since the fabric warehouse that I was going to get fabric from had closed. So I kind of brushed it aside until TwoPages came along and wanted me to try some of their window treatments. So I did accept the opportunity to try their curtain panels, and I chose the design by Miss Maverick Muse, and it was the Grand Floral Classic. I wanted something with a chinoiserie style, yet that would blend with my dining room chairs. And of course, since I put my faux tulips on the table, I wanted something with a little more color, a floral pattern and some reds or pinks and greens in it. And that particular fabric pretty much stood out for me, that I thought would be a perfect blend in my dining room. From the time I ordered them and received them, it was about maybe a 2 to 3 week process, which I was surprised at the quick turnaround. However, I have to be honest and tell you that when I got them and I opened the box and started to disassemble them, there was a very strong odor, almost like an ammonia smell. I don't know if it was some kind of chemicals that they used on this to print the screen on the fabric, but it was a very strong smell, and I had to actually hang them in a closet and let them air out. That was not in our room because I didn't want to smell that smell. And I'm sure the company is not going to like me saying that, but it is the truth. I did put a deodorizer in the closet, and after about a week, I went back and the smell was gone. So that's just, some information I wanted to share. Now, let's get back to me talking about the actual fabric. Well, I chose, like I said, the Miss Maverick Muse pattern, and I chose the triple pleat. They were very easy to assemble. I mean, put the little clip inside. I'm used to dealing with the metal ones, but the plastic one was not too bad. Kind of fatter, if you will, than the metal, the stainless steel ones. But you can adjust whether you want the curtains from the top or from the bottom. So I did like that option there where you could hang them to your desire. Whereas with the metal ones, you have to buy either the long ones or you have to buy the short ones, but you just have to stick them in where you want them. As for the style of the fabric, I did like the warm tone of it, but yet it had the very pretty floral print. And of course, my curtains, I chose to have a lining on them because the sun gets in and it will discolor your fabrics, as that is happening with one of my window treatments in the kitchen. Even though I have them lined, but the piece of fabric that's facing the window is getting a bit more discolored from the sun. So you do want to keep that in mind when you're having custom panels made. Now, after getting all the the curtain hooks on the panels, which was very, very easy to do and not very time consuming either, I was ready to hang them. Now, I did give them a bit of a pressing because I did lose the creases when I hung them in the closet to air out. But I will say that I do like this pattern print for the room to give it that spring touch. It had the right amount of floral design. Now, however, I will tell you the mistake that I made, and that was I ordered them a bit too long. I chose the same length as the ones that was up there, but I forgot that. Well, not forgot, but when I made my son's, when I had them made, his windows were a little bit taller than mine. His ceiling was, so they hung, and I just used that exact measurement. So it was a bit too long puddling on the floor. That's not where I really wanted them to hang. However, one mistake that I saw by the company made was, you see how the bird is on one side? It should be matching that other panel on the other side. However, they are not matching. So that is a pet peeve, but if you are a designer, that would annoy you. But me, since my curtains will be pretty much covered by my plants, it didn't bother me too much. So I did like looking at the little bird, but the other side should have had the same panel. So when you cut your fabric and the return should equal. Now, the beautiful florals didn't faze me. It didn't bother me because I had the beautiful florals to accent the rest of the panels. But I could tell that the panels were not cut correctly. But it's okay. And as far as the quality of the fabric, it's like a linen fabric. It felt pretty nice. And I can say that with the heavy lining, it gave it a more quality feel. But overall, I will say that I was pleased with the style of the fabric and the choice and the selection that I chose. And as with all your curtains, when you go to hang them, you have to kind of play with them, nip and tuck, and kind of pull out the creases and make sure it's all lined up. So otherwise, I will say that I'm very pleased with this for my spring and summer. And the other ones, I'll bring those out for winter and fall. So it's nice to have the two pair of curtains that I could switch up in here, because normally I do not change my fabrics on my windows, because I'm one of those that, you know, once I get something I like, I'll stick with it for a little while. Actually, not a little while, but for a very long time. So I'm just going to put the room back, and we're going to step back and look at to see the difference that having a floral pattern hung up my walls versus the I don't even know what to call that kind of pattern. It's just like checkers. It's not even like checkerboard, or it just had the lines in it, the tan and the black lines, which I do like that it goes with my dining room. But again, like I said, I've been wanting a floral fabric to hang there. I did find some that were on the marketplace, a dark brown background with this heavy floral pattern, but I put them in my mother's guest room. So this pattern looks pretty good against the green walls, and I can see the red floral prints, the peonies that's in there, and the little pink flowers that's in there. So it all blends and ties into my room decor very nicely. And you can't even tell that the bird isn't meeting with one another. Now, I'm not going to worry about that. However, like I said, if yours was exposed, you would probably want to make sure that they are equally balanced. So I will say that my overall experience with TwoPages was pretty satisfying. Like I said, I don't push a lot of, sponsored or affiliated posts here unless I firmly, agree or think it's something worthwhile. This, I would say, is definitely worthwhile. And, having good window treatments hung makes a big difference in your home versus if you can, you've seen some that have been hung the wrong way. So you really want to make a statement, and window treatments add that statement to a room. And this is the only room that I plan on changing fabrics in. Now that the inside is all done and clean and tidy, it's time for me to get out in this yard and get busy getting my yard all cleaned out and get the weeds out of the beds. But I'm not doing this by myself. As a matter of fact, I've got help on this one because my vertigo will not allow me to get out here like I used to. But it does need some tidying up and weeding out and reorganizing things because it has gotten a bit out of control. But I'm going to, I'm going to call him my gardener, my yarder, because he is working diligently to get my yard back in order. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to take you outside and let you see my garden. In the meantime, thank you again for tuning in, and always remember, beauty is being home and loving it. I hope you enjoyed this, and also I want to thank TwoPages again for the opportunity to give my windows a spring refresh. And also, if you want to order or check out their website and the other selections that they have, because there is a lot, I will put their link in my description box, and feel free to browse. And if you like this pattern, I'll even put that direct link on the description box as well. Like I said, I did like this pattern. It goes very nicely with my chair fabrics, and with the touch of vintage and spring, that's a perfect combination in my dining room. I'll see you again in my next video.